What's up everyone, MeJP2 here, and in today's video, since the Master Premiere is out, I decided that I wanted to use level 50 KANTO MUK because it does have a couple of moves that I find interesting. With it having Thunder Punch, I did find that it probably can't do that poorly into Gyarados, and it has Poison Jab and is just a Poison type, so it fully walls Florges. So Florges and Gyarados, two of the most common Pokemon, both don't do very well into this thing, which means that it must be not terrible. Now, it's also going to get destroyed by Rhyperior, which is why I have Waterfall Gyarados and also Hydreigon in the back, just to hopefully deal with Rhyperior, because Muk absolutely cannot. Without further ado, let's get into the battles. Alright, so into the first battle, and we lead with Muk into Primarina. Absolutely amazing lead. The opponent's also staying in, which is interesting. The nice thing about having Thunder Punch is that a good lot of the Charmers, like Primarina and Togekiss, do get hit for super effective by Thunder Punch, which is just an added bonus. Now the opponent, they're going for a Sparkling Aria for some reason. I don't actually know if Hydreigon is better or not. I think it is though. But, so the opponent then safe switches a Mamoswine. I knew this was a Stone Edge the exact moment that I clicked do not shield this, or whatever that button says, and I do have to pay the price for that, but thankfully Gyarados does survive. Now Aqua Tail, they will, both of them, after they're both thrown, will be able to take out the Primarina, but then the opponent actually decides to shield. The opponent has Togekiss in the back, and as you can see from that little notification in the bottom, they conceded the match. Yeah, that game was doomed the moment they saw Muk on the lead. Into the next battle, and we see Muk into a Florges lead. Opponent safe switches Goodra, and at this point I do realize that I will need to commit a shield to retain switch advantage, and I will be CMP tying the Goodra. This Brutal Swing will take them out, and I'm hoping I have enough HP to make it to a Flash Cannon. Hydreigon obviously doesn't, it's still Bleeding Fairy. Thankfully though, we have Muk. Muk just immediately shuts down their energy. They can throw whatever they want here, it's resisted. In the back, they have Goldengo, and down a shield, this could be scary. I do survive a Shadow Ball, and Hex does very little, but I'm going to need to get both their shields and then hope that Muk KOs them with the Dark Balls. This is one instance where having Waterfall is very nice, because Dragon Breath would be resisted. So now they're obviously going to shield this, and they're just going to go for a full farm out, which they get. Thankfully, though, they cannot store 2 Shadow Balls, and I should be able to make it to a Thunder Punch right before. If I had tried to make it to a Dark Pulse there, they would have made a Shadow Ball and that would have done too much damage. Thankfully though, Thunder Punch takes them out, and now all they have is Florges, which should be fully walled. Disarming Voice does a decent amount of damage, but they're going to need at least one more, so we're going to be fine. We're going to hit them with a Thunder Punch, and they're going to go for a move here. Doesn't matter what it is. Disarming Voice won't take me out. Another one would, but they don't have that. We farm down, we take that game. We see a Dragonite lead in the next battle. This is the first lead we've seen it's not favorable. And the opponent safe switches Excadrill. Not entirely sure why they did that. I'm pretty sure it's a bait out. They probably have something else in the back. But I do tank a Rock Slide, and I just fully farm them down. Now the opponent is waiting. And then they send out Donphan. So it's a pretty cool spice pick, but first of all, they should be sending in Dragonite there 100% of the time. Because now they have to eat 2 Aqua Tails, or shield them, and then after I shield them, they send back out Dragonite. Just take the Aqua Tails on Dragonite. I'm not entirely sure what that was, but it's a horrendous misplay by my opponent, and I'm just going to take full advantage of that. They can throw a move here. It's a Hurricane. I was about to say nothing can take me out there, but Hurricane does. And they have Donphan. We've already seen it. Brutal Swing is going to deal enough damage where I can probably just Waterfall him down anyways. So I'm not even going to shield this. Gyarados never gets farmed down by Mudslap. Hydreigon gets destroyed by Play Rough, but we're able to win with 2 shields. We see a Gyarados lead in the next battle. This is not a bad lead. Thunder Punch hits very hard. The opponent safe switches Metagross. Sometimes I respond with Gyarados because it's a complete wall to energy. And sometimes I just fail to register that and just send in Hydreigon because I see Psychic type and just go Dark type. But I think Gyarados is the better response. Crunch hits for a respectable amount of damage. My Gyarados will not get taken out by a second Meteor Mash. Pretty close though, but I should leave with almost a move, and I do. So I leave with the Aqua Tail. This will not do too much, but it will do more than a Waterfall would. Opponent lets me get an extra Waterfall there, not entirely sure why they did that, but they did. And now, just going to go for Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch gets shielded, obviously, and the opponent has Excadrill in the back. Now, even shields, this would be absolutely awful because Muk cannot do anything, but Hydreigon with a shield advantage should be able to make it to multiple Brutal Swings, especially since Mudshot doesn't have anywhere near as good of pacing anymore. Now, opponent, they're going to go for another move here. They go for a Rock Slide. Not sure why. They might be on Rock Slide plus Earthquake. That's the only logical justification for that. But so Brutal Swing does too much damage. They try to make a Snipe with Gyarados, but I'm going to be able to make it to a Thunder Punch. Snipe them instead. They had some energy. Now they don't. And Excadrill gets farmed down by Poison Jabs. We do take that game. See a awful lead in the next battle. So we see Shadow Garchomp. Going to safe switch Waterfall Gyarados. And the opponent responds with something that is fully walled by Gyarados. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure why my opponents were playing like this. I'm not at that low of an elo, granted. I was trying to run some other stuff for content earlier, so my elo did get a bit low, but it's not that low. Now I'm going to be able to make it to a second crunch. If the opponent wants to switch advantage, they have to commit both shields. Looks like they don't, and then they send in Garchomp. Now, Dragon Tail, especially with the Shadow bonus, is going to tear Hydreigon apart, but I need Hydreigon to take care of the Garchomp because Muk absolutely cannot. Now the opponent has Rhyperior in the back, which basically just means my one win condition is this. If they shield this, they just win. They do, and now Muk is basically doomed because they can go for a Breaking Swipe. Even if I shield it, it still has that debuff chance. They get the debuff chance, which is insult to injury. I don't think 2 Dark Pulses even KO. With a Breaking Swipe debuff, I don't even think 3 do, and Muk never farms down. Look at this Dark Pulse damage. I don't even know if 4 would KO from full HP. Regardless, we just get fully Mud Slapped down, and we do lose that game. We see Annihilate on the lead in the next battle. Decent lead, but I do have a couple better responses in the back. I guess Hydreigon's technically not a better response, but I'm going to send out Gyarados anyway. The opponent responds with Togekiss, which frankly is very good for me. Just because of the fact that Hydreigon just kind of vanishes the moment Togekiss just hits the battlefield. So being able to take care of Togekiss early is very nice. Opponent actually chooses to let Togekiss go down, so I am able to take Switch. Doesn't do much though because I have to send Muk back out anyways. But they're going to go for a Rage Fist. Muk is reasonably tanky, and now just going to go for a Thunder Punch as they send in Gyarados. This just guarantees a shield, and now Gyarados should be walled provided they're not on Outrage. I got hit by an Outrage from a Gyarados before, it's not fun, but thankfully, looks like they're walled. Now, I know how to count their energy. I'm pretty sure I just fully farm them down here. Aqua Tail does a respectable amount of damage. I have to be careful with a Snipe, so I do just choose to throw a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing obviously takes him out, and now I'm going to be able to make it to another one. Now, this Brutal Swing does a nice amount of damage, and then I make a arguably pretty bad misplay. They're not buffed yet. I should stay in because I might be able to make it to another Brutal Swing, and then I no-shield the Rage Fist. So these two plays probably just lost me the game, because now I'm pretty sure I just get countered through. They throw a Rage Fist here, there's absolutely no need. They probably just counter through everything anyways. But Muk gets farmed down, and Hydreigon probably will. Or not. I think that was actually a damage registration error. Make it to a Brutal Swing and take him out. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I should have lost that game. I definitely deserved to, but I'm bailed out by that. So I guess I'll take it. Next battle, we see Skeletors on the lead. I send in Hydreigon, and the opponent responds with Feraligatr. Even if they have Ice Beam, this is the Master League, Hydreigon is going to be able to tank an Ice Beam decently well. Now, I'm going to go for a Brutal Swing. This will probably come very close to KOing or get a shield. And now I'm just going to win CMP. Now, winning CMP is nice here. Brutal Swing gets both shields. At this point, I figure I might as well just try and fully farm them down, so I might be able to leave with a Flash Cannon, which would be a lot of fun. If they send in a Fairy type and it gets hit with a Flash Cannon, that would just absolutely make my day. So now, they send in Florges, and we know exactly what time it is. We're going for the Flash Cannon. Florges is bulky, but Flash Cannon hits extremely hard, and then we just snipe them with Muk. What do they have? Oh yeah, they have Skeletors, forgot about that. But so, they're going to go for a move here. Blast Burn does a respectable amount of damage. Muck is decently bulky though. Now we're going to be able to go for Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse does way too much. Opponent realizes it's over, and we take that game. We see Mamoswine on the lead in the next battle. Regardless of whether or not they have Powder Snow or Mud Slap, it's not good. Now opponent is going to go for a move here. Avalanche won't KO. Now I'd expect them to switch out. They send out their own Waterfall Gyarados, which is honestly fine in my opinion, because the play here is to farm up to a Crunch, hopefully they throw right before, or go for an Aqua Tail. But I need to get some damage, and then hopefully Hydreigon just farms down, and then we're able to threaten the Mamoswine with Brutal Swings. So now they're going to be able to go for several moves here. Looks like they're not on Outrage, so Crunch does some okay damage, and if they send back out Mamoswine, I might just fully farm them down. That looks like exactly what I'm going for. I'm going to win CMP, so they're going to be forced to shield if they want to get this energy off. Now I'm shielding back. Avalanche does some nice damage. I'm kidding, it was shielded. But then the opponent in the back has Excadrill, and once again, I just lose the game on the spot. Muck has absolutely nothing against Excadrill. It just cannot do anything here. So letting this move go just expedites the process because I'm losing anyway. They can shield the Dark Pulse. I don't think I'd make it to another one because they'll make it to a Drill Run before I make it to 2 Dark Pulses. So I just lose that game. We see Glaceon on the lead in the next battle. This is a Pokemon that I've ran before, and I can see why people are having fun using it. Now I'm going to go for a Thunder Punch. Knowing Glaceon, I expect them to shield it. They actually don't. But because they have Icy Wind, I would have expected them to shield the first move because that's the one that's going to deal more damage. They're going to Icy Wind me, and I'm going to be able to make it to another Thunder Punch. I do make it to a Dark Pulse, but they're obviously shielding this, so I might be able to make it to another move. Opponent does throw, though, so I'm not getting another move. But now they're going to Icy Wind, take me out, and Hydreigon will get some farm. I was honestly expecting a Fairy type, but they actually do send in their own Hydreigon, which is very nice. Hydreigon is going to shield the Brutal Swing, and now I'll make it to 2 of them. Now this will put them in Dragon Breath farm down range if they let it through, so they let that go, and they get farmed down. Now in the back, they have Venusaur, and I'm just going to go straight for the Brutal Swing. Hoping they don't shield this, but they do. And now Gyarados. This is one of the times where having Dragon Breath would be better, but I should be fine. Gyarados tanks the Frenzy Plant pretty comfortably. They're still not farming me down, and I should be able to make it to 2 Crunches before they make it to 2 Frenzy Plants. I have a shield, so if they throw another Frenzy Plant, I just shield it, and at this point, I know that Gyarados wins this. They're low enough from the waterfall damage that Aqua Tail actually just takes them out though, and we do leave with a shield. We see Florges on the lead in the next battle. Extremely good lead. Opponent will probably be switching out, and they actually don't. They farm up to 6. They should still be walled here, it doesn't matter. Yeah, they Trailblaze, and then they send out for Alligator. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this was pretty stupid on my end. I sent in Gyarados instead of Hydreigon. Opponent can actually fight for switch here, but I don't think they get it either way. I'm gonna go for Crunch. Crunch gets shielded, so the opponent probably is just selling out for switch. If they go for another Hydro here, they're not taking me out. They actually Ice Beam though. At this point, I do realize that if they want switch, they're gonna have to get both. They're gonna have to give both shields. At this point, they can farm me down, but Hydreigon should leave with a Flash Cannon, or at least close to it. And Florges will not see that coming. They Ice Beam me, and then they pivot back out into Florges. I never understood like plays like this. I've seen plenty of people do this. They fight hard for switch, like give up both shields, and then they just pivot out. I'm not sure what the benefit is. They Moonblast me, of course I get the attack debuff, and because of that they actually make it to a Trailblaze. So I am forced to give up a shield, because I don't want my Muck that low. It might still have usefulness, and it does. They send in Metagross, and having 2 Dark Pulses is very nice here. Granted, they're debuffed because of that 10% Moonblast chance, but it should be fine. They do try to make a catch on it for Alligator, and they do make it to a Hydro, but I have a shield. At this point, Hydreigon, I probably could have gone for a Flash Cannon for the disrespect. Like, I probably could have made it, but the safer play is just going for the Brutal Swing, so that's what I did, and we take the game. We see a very good lead in the next battle, Muck into Togekiss. Opponent immediately pivots out to Metagross, and this time I respond with Hydreigon, instead of responding with Gyarados, which is a full-on wall. Now, at this point, I do decide I kind of just want shields, so I will be able to make it 2 Brutal Swings before they farm me down. So if they want switch, they have to give me both shields. At that point, Gyarados just farms them down, and Gyarados will leave with enough energy that there's not much that they can do. So they can sell out for Switch here, but Gyarados will probably just win me the game with energy. We'll see if, like in the last battle, the opponent sells out for Switch with both shields. I never understand that. But so now, Muk will be fine. They're going to go for a move here. They don't have anything that threatens me. It's either an Aerial Ace or an Ancient Power. Ancient Power gets the boost, because of course it does. Should have thrown the Thunder Punch earlier, but hey, I really couldn't have expected that. Regardless, I get a bit more farm. If they send in Metagross, Metagross gets hit with a Dark Pulse, and probably after that I'll pivot right out into Hydreigon. No, I don't have Hydreigon. Hydreigon's gone, my bad. I would pivot back out into Gyarados. But now, they have a Tyranitar. They're on Bite. I have 2 shields, but they don't have enough fast move pressure, even with Bite. They do take the game. See another Togekiss lead in the next battle. Togekiss is pretty common, just because it's a decently good Pokemon. It did have a community day fairly recently. Opponent sends out Gyarados. Thunder Punch lands, which does a very nice amount of damage, and now Hydreigon will come into farm down. Now, this is calculated. I know that my Hydreigon will just get destroyed by Charm, but I'm counting on the fact that they don't know that this random thing that's double weak to Fairy knows a move that's super effective against Fairy. And they do not. Goodbye, Togekiss. In the back, it's Annihilate, and I have bad memories after almost throwing away an endgame against Annihilate earlier, so this time I was determined not to do that. So now, they have Rage Fist, but I can no-shield the first one, and there's just no way that they have enough fast move pressure, even with as many boosts as they have. There's not enough fast move pressure to farm down my Gyarados, just because of the fact that counters resisted. So now I'm going to make sure I'm throwing on good timing. At this point, I can probably just waterfall through them. And they're still shielding, so I'm going to send out Muk, just because I want Muk to close out this game. If this is a Shadow Ball, I get taken out. It is. Goodbye, Muk. But we still have a full, well, not full health Gyarados. We still have a Gyarados with enough health, so we take the game. This game is probably already over, but I'm still going to try and play it out. I safe switch Hydreigon. The opponent sends out Metagross. Not at all a response to Hydreigon, even if Hydreigon's on Dragon Breath. They shield the Brutal Swing, and I am 100% fighting for Switch here. I have Gyarados, which hits Rhyperior for double super effective, or I have Muk, which hits Rhyperior for double resisted. So it's pretty obvious what I'm going to want to do. So I'm going to sell it for Switch. I do have to go down a shield, but I figure I can get that back, and besides, Rhyperior can't shield the waterfalls anyway. The opponent has their own Hydreigon, and thankfully, my Muk is going to have a much better matchup into Hydreigon than it is against the Rhyperior. Even though Muk's both of its charge moves are resisted, the fast moves are not, which is good. Opponent, I would expect them to switch out into Rhyperior at some point. They do. They make a very nice catch of the Thunder Punch, and now I just need to hope that I live a Rock Wrecker, because if I don't, I'm pretty sure I just lose on the spot. So, opponent, Rock Wrecker, and we do get the farm down. So this game is all of a sudden not over. It probably still is, but it might not be. We get a defense drop, but yeah, they make it to a Brutal Swing a bit too fast. If they hadn't caught that Thunder Punch, I'm pretty sure I actually clutched that game, but they make a very nice catch. We do lose it as a result. Back-to-back bad leads. We see Excadrill. I safe switch into Hydreigon because I don't want to safe switch my hard answer. Now, opponent is going to throw a move here. I'm going to shield it, and the opponent sends out Goodra. Now, I'm going to go for double Brutal Swing. I'm not stupid. I'm not flash cannoning them, because if they shield the first one, which they do, that would be a waste of energy. Besides, I think double Brutal Swing is more efficient anyways because of the same type attack bonus. And now, opponent, I think they have to throw a move here. They might have been able to barely farm me down, but I don't think it's worth the risk for them. I'll send out Muk. Muk will have to eat a charge move, but Muk has a very respectable amount of bulk on it, actually. If they Aqua Tail me, I'm just going to fully farm him down. And when they send out Excadrill, we're just going to send in Gyarados. And the opponent is not having any response. They're not switching out yet. They Rock Slide me, and then they send out Chandelure. So I gotta respect the spice here, but Gyarados, pretty sure just waterfalls everything. This is a Shadow Ball, but Shadow Ball will not take me out. Shadow Ball, yep, doesn't take me out. Next Incinerate doesn't either. At this point, I'm going for the disrespect. I'm going to win against a horrible lead. I might as well finish it out with Muk. I probably could have Thunder Punched him there, but I'm just going to go for the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse takes him out, and we do take that game. Into the next battle, and we lead Muk into Gyarados. Now, this is one of the matchups that demonstrates how important charge move timing is, because if the Gyarados ever throws on alignment here, I will outpace them to the next Thunder Punch. This one gets them very deep into the yellow, and then they throw immediately. So I get a free poison jab, so I'm actually now a full turn ahead of them. As a result, I make it to a Thunder Punch, whereas if they had thrown on good timing, I would have lost CMP there and probably lost Switch. The opponent sends out Rhyperior, and I just immediately send out Gyarados. Not entirely sure why I did that. I probably should have just let them farm me down. But because they have Florges in the back, Gyarados is my best response to Florges, so I guess it works out. No Moonblast debuff this time, almost gave me a heart attack because I was so scared after that one time. But now, opponent is going to be committing shields here, and I'm just going to be shielding right back. I wish I had shielded the Moonblast before because then they'd have to Trailblaze, but then the opponent makes the decision of sending out Rhyperior again. They Breaking Swipe, no attack debuff thankfully, and at this point I'm just catching the Breaking Swipe onto Hydreigon. Hydreigon will tank a Breaking Swipe. It's the debuff, but Florges is so low that I'm pretty sure I can just go for a Brutal Swing. This will threaten them, so they have to shield it. Gyarados has a move and wins CMP, but they have to have 2 moves here. We know they're on Moonblast, so this is only a Trailblaze. Trailblaze will not take me out, and Hydreigon manages to farm down a Fairy type. We see Metagross on the lead in the next battle, and while we do have access to Dark Pulse, it's not that good. Now, they're going to respond with Gyarados, and this is one of those matchups that shows just how important same type attack bonus is, because we're dealing about the same damage with Dragon Breath, even though the Gyarados hits for super effective. I get that Hydreigon has a slightly higher attack stat, but still. Then the opponent, they get fully farmed down, they send out Dragonite, and I'm just going to go for the Brutal Swing. I couldn't make it to a Flash Cannon, unfortunately. That would have done more, but whatever. Send out Muk. Muk will be able to deal more damage into the Dragonite than it would into the Metagross, which is what matters. I'm going to Thunder Punch him. This will not take him out, and the opponent sends out Metagross. Now Metagross gets fully walled here, unless they're on Psychic, but I have yet to see a Metagross on Psychic. So they're going to be going for a Meteor Mash. Won't take me out. They go for another one. I will be shielding this. And now, I'm going to be able to make it to a bunch of Aqua Tails. They're probably going to use both shields here. They don't really have anywhere else better to use them. But I will have to be aware of a catch for the next one. So, that gets their next shield. Opponent does go for a Snipe here. To be honest, I probably should have just saved the shield, because then Muk could fully farm them down and Dark Pulse the Metagross, but I'm pretty sure we're fine anyways. I make it to a Dark Pulse anyways without needing that shield. Dark Pulse will take him out, and we do take that game. Into the next battle, pretty awful lead, Muk and a Garchomp. I send out Hydreigon, they're on Dragon Tail, and then they respond with Metagross again. I'm not sure why opponents do this. They probably see Dragon type and just go Steel, because Steel resists Dragon. But the secondary type matchup here is also very important. Now, I'm going to be able to make it to several Brutal Swings. This one, I don't know if this will take him out, because that one Brutal Swing rework would lower the damage, but also lower the energy. So it's a bit spammier, but it does a bit less damage. I don't think it will take him out here. It barely doesn't, but the next Dragon Breath does. So we do manage to take Switch. And actually Shield Advantage as well. Now, the opponent, they send out Garchomp. I'm going to send in Gyarados, they Sand to me, and then they send out Togekiss. Now, we have a very, very good response to them with Muk, because Thunder Punch hits for super effective, Poison Jab hits for super effective. Even if they make a move here, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to throw to deny them their move, because it's going to deal more damage here. And Garchomp probably farms me down anyways, just ignoring the Dark Pulse damage. So now Dark Pulse will hit for some very nice damage, and at this point, I'm just going to send out Gyarados. Very useless bait call here. I don't think they're going to have an Outrage. Yeah, they Sand to me. I probably should have just shielded. If I shielded, that's just a safe win, but I decided to be a little crazy, I guess, and not shield it. We take the game, though. Extremely good lead, Muk into Florges. Opponent sends out Metagross, and I just respond with Hydreigon. We've seen this matchup so many times. And this time, I think Metagross does have a slight energy advantage, but I don't think it matters. So, they shield the first Brutal Swing, obviously trying to fight for Switch. They're not going to get it. I think Hydreigon wins all evens, except maybe the zeros. Yeah, probably not. Actually, no, it probably does win the zeros. But the opponent is looking to play out the 2 shields, probably trying to just get shields down. But I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, I have to be wary of a catch. They do try and make a catch. And once again, we have the lead matchup on the field. Now, they're going to go for a Trailblaze, and I'm just going to be able to go for Thunder Punch after Thunder Punch. Now, I'm waiting to throw Thunder Punches, not entirely sure why I did that, but I want to get them as low as possible. I go over 100 energy here because I'm a very good battler, but so now they're going to go for a move here. This should just be a Trailblaze, won't take me out. And now, what do they send in? Send in Metagross. We have a Dark Pulse, though. Muk doesn't have the highest attack stat, but Metagross still gets taken out. And they have Rhyperior in the back. Even if they make a Rock Wrecker, I think that will take me out from this range. But doesn't matter, Hydreigon has a move. Hydreigon has the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing will take them out from this range, just because of the absurd amount of damage Waterfall did, so we do manage to take that game. Overall, this thing was quite a bit of fun to run. I had mainly built it for the purpose of walling Florges, but when I saw the Thunder Punch, I realized, hey, this thing can probably do pretty well in the Gyarados as well. And it did. It also wasn't as awful as I thought in other matchups like Dragonite and certain other matchups where Muk was able to put out a respectable amount of damage, even with the combat power disparity. Now, Pokemon like Togekiss and Primarina getting destroyed was an added bonus. But yeah, this thing was actually quite a lot of fun to run, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of teams that don't expect it. People typically do expect some things that'll beat both Florges and Gyarados, like they're probably prepared for Magnezone, but I don't think people expect Muk as much, and I think that being able to catch people off guard like that can be a lot of fun. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.